Hey everybody, I just want to go through some things that I didn't know about paramotoring until after I got into it. These might not be true for everyone. I just wanted to share it with you though in case you're on the fence or you want to know kind of what you're getting into or what you don't know that you don't know. The first point, people typically fly paramotors in the morning and in the evening, and the reason they do that is because that's when the air is the calmest. So there's the least amount of turbulence. So what happens is the sun heats up the earth, kind of like if you have a pot of water that's on the stove. When you turn on the burner, you got the flame going, but the water's not bubbling yet. That's like in the morning when the sun hits the crust of the earth, it's starting to warm it up, but there's no hot air or pockets of warm air that are coming off the earth yet. So, around, 9 or 10, that's when stuff starts to happen. And then when you turn off the heat then on a stove, the water's still going to bubble until the bottom of the metal cools down, and then the bubbling is going to stop. So, although, the sun starts to, go down after 12 o'clock, it's still going to, warm air is still going to be coming off the crust of the earth until, around, 5 or 6, something like that. So people fly in the mornings and the evenings because they like the smoothness, right? They want it to be butter smooth. Well, I found out, or I shouldn't say I found out, I was reminded that I don't like bumpy air. It makes me nauseous. It makes me throw up. So when I learned how to free fly before I got into paramotoring, I got sick in the air twice, and I continued to get nauseous whenever I would fly in ridge lift. So this continues to be the case today. I'm optimistic that I can kind of beat the air sickness, but it's just going to take some time and consistent flying. So anyway, the big point is that I don't like bumps. They make me nauseous. Point number 2. When I fly north of Skokie, Illinois, I go up to this forest preserve, and I actually fly out over the water up there because I'm not allowed to fly over the congested areas like neighborhoods and, commercial districts and all that stuff. Well, flying up high is cool at first because you get a nice perspective, but then it gets boring because you can't sense yourself moving on the ground, and if you're just flying in a straight line or something and not doing any, air maneuvers or anything like that, you're just kind of sitting there chilling. You might snap some pictures, text some people or whatever because you want to share the experience, but it becomes mundane. So point number 2, it's much more fun in my experience to fly close to the ground where you can see the terrain, you can see changes, you can go up over trees, around trees, you can go really low and maybe drag your feet, see some animals, all that cool stuff. But once you get up high, everything is, you just don't get a sense of your own movement through the atmosphere, and it just gets boring. So before you buy your paramotor, maybe you're just thinking, wow, I'm sitting here at my neighborhood park, like, oh, look at this space. I could just take a couple steps and zoom off into the air. And you know what? That's probably true. You probably could take a couple steps and run right off into the air. However, you're probably not allowed to launch from that location because you're in a congested area. You can't fly over houses. You can't fly, in the suburbs where there's all these, housing developments. You can't fly over cities. You can't just cruise through downtown Chicago, flying right down Michigan Avenue. It would be cool. There'd probably be a lot of turbulence with the wind and all the buildings. It'd probably be really sketchy. But you can't do that. So most videos that you're going to see of people paramotoring, they're out in the country, and they're flying over cornfields and farmer fields and all that stuff, right? They're flying in remote areas because you cannot fly over congested areas. They might be flying out over water too. So that's my dreams are just, hey, we've got this really wide street, like right next to my house. I'll just pop up my wing and run down the street and take off and zip up in the sky and then land at the park right next to my house. That'd be super convenient, but unfortunately, it's not legal according to FAR 103. Point number 4, the wind is your enemy. Let me explain. When you paramotor, you're like a mosquito in the wind. You can get blown about and pushed back and stuff, and the wind really affects how fast you can go in a certain direction. So it may be calm on the ground when you're taking off, but up 1,000 feet or 3,000 feet, that could be a completely different story. So before you go paramotor, you need to check the winds aloft. So there's a couple websites that you can go to see what's going on up high. Paramotors are really for traveling. They're to go places, to see new things, to explore. And when it's windy, it inhibits your ability to make headway in any direction. Going back might be awesome because you're going to be, you get a 15 mile per hour tailwind, plus you're going 25, you're going 35 or 40. Awesome, cool. But going the other way is just a, pain in the butt because, you're on almost full power and you're just inching along the ground. So no one likes to do that. That's why people look for calm days. And it's also why people go out in the morning and in the evenings, because typically that's when the wind is more calm. Point number 5, related to point number 4, it's cold up high. So it may be warm on the ground when you're getting ready and getting your engine warmed up and laying out your wing and all that stuff. You might be sweating, but you're going to want to put on a coat and bring a hat and gloves and all that stuff, and maybe have some layers on your legs, because once you get up high, man, the temperature could drop by, 10, 15 degrees or whatever. Plus, you got the wind chill going on, especially in the fall or in the spring. That can change pretty quickly. So it might be Miami on the ground, but northern Canada up in the sky. So point number 6, big wings typically go slower. Small wings go faster. And the main point of this is that I like speed. Going places, traveling, making headway, that's cool. That's fun, right? If you're just big and boaty and slow, relaxing, pleasurable, but kind of boring. Or I should say more boring. It's all fun, but, speed is fun. Point 7. I like a nimble wing. So a wing where you don't have to pull a ton of brake in order to get the wing to turn to the left or to turn to the right. Picture like a jet ski versus a pontoon boat. Or, a jet ski versus like a yacht, right? Both will turn and stuff, but a jet ski is much more quick and, it'll spin and it can skid out and blah, blah, blah. Those are probably more like your more advanced wings. I fly a Roadster 2, which is like a B wing. And I typically use the tip steering a lot because I want the thing to kind of turn sharper. Anyway, I just found out that, a wing that requires less input and that's a little more agile is something that is one of my preferences. So does not mean you should start with that, but that's happens to be what I like. Point 8, I kind of knew this already going in, but I like it better when I'm idling up high or when the engine is off. The paramotor is for me, it's a compromise. We don't have mountains in the Midwest, so you got to get up in the sky somehow. You could tow, right? But then you got to drive somewhere and pay them some money and then get towed and get up in the sky. It's just not convenient. So the paramotor can get you up there pretty quickly, and then once you're up there, if you turn it off or you idle it, it's just peaceful and it's really freaking cool. You're just up there soaring around, or actually you're not soaring. You're kind of on like a big sled ride coming down, but it's just totally cool and it's serene and it's relaxing. So it just seems to be more pure. So maybe one day when I start to thermal, that's just going to be freaking really, really cool. So hopefully I'll get over my bump tolerance by then too. Stuff's going to get more expensive. You are going to break shit. your paramotor is going to fall off the back of your car in a Walmart parking lot, and you're going to crack a $500 carbon fiber prop. You're going to over-tighten your redrive drain and fill screws because you had a brain fart, and you're going to almost strip your redrive. Stuff's going to happen. So you're going to be spending more money. So just FYI, aviation's expensive, and it's going to be more expensive if you're going to break shit. Side plug, I know I have a video about the Miniplane. I don't work for them. You don't have to buy one. But whatever you do, you don't give a kid a Tesla or a Jaguar or a Mercedes as their first car. You give them a used Honda or a Toyota or a used Ford or something that's cheap, that's been beat up a little bit, that's reliable, that's that can take a little bit of a beating. So you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna break stuff. You're gonna fall. You might break a prop or damage your cage or something. Right? It's gonna happen. Relax. Probably shouldn't start with the best of the best to begin with, because shit's gonna happen. Duh. Okay? Anyway. You kind of become a local celebrity. I get stopped at the gas station when I'm filling up. People want to know what this thing is. Gas attendant clerks are coming out and talking to me. You get stopped at stoplights. People want to roll in their windows and know what that thing is. When you are, getting ready to take off, people stop and look. When you're flying out in the country, people on roads are slowing down to look at what you're doing. Like, it attracts attention. So, get ready to sign autographs, pass out your business card, take selfies with people, whatever. But it does garner attention, and by and large, it's all very, very positive. So, that's kind of cool. You are going to be doing a fair amount of maintenance on your motor. Shit's going to break, or you're going to do, gearbox oil changes. You're going to, a tube's going to bust. You're going to have to, do a 5-hour or a 10-hour maintenance or a 25-hour maintenance or a 100-hour maintenance, blah, blah, blah. So you're going to need to learn about that stuff. And hopefully you got some buddies around you or a network of people where you can bounce ideas off. And it's actually fun if you like working with your hands. But just FYI that you are going to be getting your hands dirty. You're going to be doing maintenance. You're going to be learning about engines. And by and large, I think that's really fun. So anyway, here's some of the stuff that I learned that I didn't quite know in the beginning. I hope this is useful to you. If you want to leave a comment about other things that you learned, be my guest. This list is not complete. It's just from my perspective. So hope you have a good day. Stay safe and happy flying.